Hey guys, Matt here, and today we're going to be bringing you something just a little different. Warzone's a pretty big game right now, and it has been since it released just over a year ago. With this in mind, we thought we might give you guys who are struggling to get those epic victory royales a helping hand. Welcome to the Warzone Survival Guide. Part 1. Prep. Before we even begin to think about clicking that play button on your screen, you're going to need to understand a couple of basic things. Firstly, one of the most important choices you'll make in this game. Not that. Your skin. Now, your skin is a very important choice in Warzone, and not only because it gives you a tactical advantage or anything silly like that. No. It's because it says something about what type of player you really are, and your enemies are going to notice that. This brings us to the other most important thing that you'll learn before clicking the play button. I know, be patient. Some of the types of players you're going to need to expect in Warzone. Number 1. The Pistol Whip Andy. Immediately as you land, some dickhead is going to be trying to shove his pistol down your throat, giving you a cozy one-way trip to the gulag. Now, Warzone being the impressively accurate game it is, you're not going to use your gun on him. Bullets are way less effective than the raw punching power of your pistol, so instead you're going to have to either run away or beat him to death before he does the same to you. Number 2. The Sniper. Was that little glint of light reflecting on my monitor? Or a speck of dust maybe? And you're dead. Snipers in Warzone give off a huge glare of light when they're aiming at you, so if you see one, or even if you think you see one, run and get cover. Reposition yourself before firing back at the sniper unless you want your brains to be blown out of your ass faster than you can say, I think I saw a sniper. Number 3. The Rook Skin User. Now this little creep is going to give you a heart attack and slam your sorry little ass into the gulag. There's not really much you can do about it. The skin's dark as hell and blends in with most places indoors. I don't know, turn your brightness up or something. Number 4. The Blender. These players will drop straight onto the choppers placed around the map quicker than you thought possible and fly into the air, turning anyone above them into a human smoothie. If you see a chopper on your radar while dropping, drop faster. And if you see one while you're on the ground, don't go anywhere near where he can get his blades at you, like a roof. And finally, number 5, the Roof Snoozers. These guys got their loadout drop, sat on a roof, and popped a YouTube video onto their second monitor to wait for 50 or so people to die before they actually play the game. Easy solution, buy a cluster strike, go into the building they're in, and cluster strike your own feet. They probably won't have time to move before they tab back into the game. Part 2. Dropping. Now assuming your PC survived the toxic warm-up and laggy cutscene at the beginning of the game, you're ready to drop. But hold on, before you fly in some random direction, you're going to need to know what to aim for. You pretty much have 4 main options, 2 of which are basically a 50% chance you start the game with an advantage, and 50% that you need to queue again in 20 seconds. We'll start with them. Option 1. Head for one of the few choppers on the map. Tons of people will head to the nearest chopper, making it a risky gamble which will probably end with you getting shoved feet first into the blender. Option 2. Head for a hotspot for loot. This could be the stadium, downtown, airport, or one of the many bunkers around the map. Now with this tactic, you can either go for the closest one, meaning that a lot of people will land there, or fly for about 10 minutes to one further away and still land with about 10 people. The choice is yours. Just bear in mind, when heading to a popular location far away, it's likely people will shoot you in the ass as you fall. These players are likely to be the Pistol Whip Andys when they hit the ground too, so be ready to bash some skulls. Now for options 3 and 4, my personal favourites. Aim for either a bounty or a search contract. These are guaranteed to bag you a decent amount of money towards your loadout drop early in the game, depending on whether or not you can quickly find a gun. I usually find that the search contract works a lot better as it will provide you with weapons and money at the same time. Remember, your aim when dropping is to quickly start gathering cash for your loadout drop, while not being sent packing to the gulag instantly. Speaking of, let's move on. Part 3. The Gulag. Say you screwed up Part 2 and ended up in the gulag anyway. No problem, we're going to need to make sure that you win this 1v1 and get straight back to your teammate who's probably being hunted down. So, what do you do now that you're down here? Chuck some stones at the chumps in the gulag for a start? You got nothing better to do while you wait. Just remember, the gulag's basically a 1v1, so choose a tactic and stick to it. Are you going to bait out the enemy and sit somewhere defensive, or rush at them at 100 miles per hour and slap their teeth out with your gun? The choice is yours, just don't be indecisive. Pay attention to your grenades too. You'll sometimes get some handy grenades and utility that can be used to your advantage. At early game, your chances of your enemy being an absolute donor are much higher, but don't assume that because they could be a real sweaty gamer. Once you win your gulag match, get back to your teammate, either land on them in a safe position, or if you have big old nuts you can head for a loadout drop if there's one nearby. It's a good way of instantly buying back into the game. Part 4. Getting your loadout drop. Now that we're on the topic of loadout drops, let's chat about that for a minute. Loadout drops allow you to get your own custom loadout in a game of Warzone. This can be extremely powerful in a game of Warzone because almost every weapon that spawns on the map is absolute ass. Not only this, but getting your loadout drop is the only way to get your perks, which can come in very handy in the late game. Either way, in your loadout drop you should have the following: a powerful AR with some good attachments for medium to short range combat. Good choices for this are the Grau, the M4A4, or the absolute destroyer, the FFAR1. Pair this weapon with a sniper rifle of your choice. You're going to need some long range capability in Warzone because everyone and their uncle are going to be trying to clap your brains out of your ass from the other side of the map. You will need to be able to shoot back at them. Use the AX50, LW1 or the Kar 98K for maximum ass whooping potential. Now for perks. You're going to need double kill in your second slot so that you can even carry the two guns I've just mentioned. For slot 1 and 3, I would personally recommend Double Time and Tracker. These give you the ability to play aggressively, hunting down your enemies before they have the chance to do the same to you. Now you might be wondering, how do I even get my loadout drop? You'll need to buy it from a buy station with $10,000. The early game is basically a race to get to $10,000 and buy your loadout drop, so you're going to want to do it ASAP. There are two main tactics to this: the coward's way and the absolute Chad way. If you're feeling like taking the safe route, look for search contracts and complete these to collect money. Each one should give you a decent amount, and usually 1 or 2 of these will be enough for a drop. If you're feeling daring, however, grab some chests and head straight for a bounty contract. This early in the game, a lot of people are still finding their footing, so it's easy to bum rush someone who isn't expecting it and send them back to Fortnite for good. Now that you have $10,000, you might be thinking it's easy from here. Well, you're wrong. Now comes the hardest part: using a buy station without being deleted from the server. Whether this be from campers in the area or people also trying to use the buy station, my point is, they're hotspots for activity, and anyone arriving after you or camping there has a distinct advantage over you. They know where you are first. So be quick, buy your loadout drop and drop it in cover, not too close to the buy station and somewhere where you can grab your loadout and dash. You don't want to stick around for long because that drop just announced your position to everyone in the immediate vicinity. Part 5. Mid-game. Now that you have your loadout drop, you might be tempted to find a tall building and sit there until everyone else kills each other while watching a video on your second monitor. Don't do that. While yes, this does give you a higher chance of making it to the final 10, wouldn't it be cooler to personally send 10 to 20 of the players in the lobby back to the menu before you win the game? With this in mind, your goal is now to keep on moving, keep completing contracts and keep dunking on players. Bounty contracts are now one of the best options. You can take a squad out of the game whilst bagging yourself a nice sum of money to spend on kill streaks to help you with your next contract. Rinse and repeat this and you'll be bagging 10 to 20 kills a game in no time. The main thing to know during this stage is when to take a fight and when to leave one and run away. Try to avoid engaging in a fight with another squad unless you have an advantage. For example, you see an enemy player sitting on a building above you and they're your bounty target. Approach this by finding a higher position where you can force them down, or use a cluster strike or C4 to remove them from their nest. Avoid running up there guns blazing or using ladders, etc. This is likely to get you killed unless they're completely brainless or AFK. Other contracts can really help you too. Capture contracts will reveal where the next circle will be. Towards the late game this will be really useful. The more money your squad has, the better. If one of you dies, redeploy him. Need an advantage on an enemy squad? Cluster strike or UAV will help. Money helps with most situations in Warzone, so keep moving and keep completing objectives. Part 6. Late game. Now you finally made it, the late game. The final circle is revealed and the last 20 or so players will start the great pilgrimage to their final positions. You're going to need a power position, somewhere with cover, backed onto the edge of the circle if possible, and high up. If you completed your capture contracts earlier in the game, you'll have a head start getting set up in this position. Don't forget to use the buy station one last time if there isn't one in the final circle. UAVs and cluster strikes are extremely helpful towards the end. Now the real challenge begins. Every single person left in the game is either extremely lucky or fairly skilled, so don't take any fights that you don't have an advantage in. Aim skill of your enemies is likely to be high, try and keep at least one of your squad alive and use all your equipment to help you out. A heartbeat sensor is a lifesaver at this point in the game. With a touch of luck and some solid spatial awareness and basic mechanical skill, you should be able to finally secure that sweet, sweet victory royale. Thank you for watching today's video, we hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like and subscribe with the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Now go win some games. See you next week. Mwah. Faster than you can say, I think I saw a sniper. Okay, fair enough.